So let's say you found the skeleton. How would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on this.
All right, welcome to Kent with Bent 22 Avengers Kent game. I'm, of course, your host, the Dapper Dino, and with me, as always, is Bent Hovend, no relation.
No relation. Hey, how's it going, everybody?
It's going pretty well here. Looks like the chat is a little bit lively here, so, you know, keep it polite, but lively is cool. I like lively, that works. Let's see, today we are continuing with Seminar 6. We got really far into Seminar 6. We're like, what are we, close to halfway?
47 minutes or something like that?
That's actually, yeah, that's pretty close to halfway. So we're going to continue on with that. In case you didn't know, we skipped number 5 because it was all just about like argument from consequence and Godwin's law. It was basically, you can summarize the entire conference that way. Like, I watched the entire thing and I was just like, no, this doesn't look like any fun at all. There's no claims about science or anything. So we skipped ahead to the Hoven theory. Now we'll go over the rules that you are not recommended to follow because they are dangerous if you follow these drinking rules. However, the drinking rules for the Kent with Bent show, which is airing at 5 or later in some places, just not here, are as follows. We drink whenever Kent says something that is just so stupid that it makes your brain hurt, and that is to help with the brain hurt. We drink whenever Kent gets something right on his own, where he's not just quoting someone, but where he actually says a factually correct statement. We drink because that is, like, it's like a congratulations for Kent, because it happens so rarely. Oh, Mr. Sirius, you're here? Awesome. I was worried. You're like, I'm alive. I was like, oh, that's good news. Anyway, the last and final drink trigger is when you hear what is usually a Godzilla sound, which Bent will demonstrate.
I'm a little behind, sorry.
Oh, there it is. We drink for Godzilla. We also occasionally drink for Mothra, but Godzilla comes up a whole lot more. So, and those are sort of pseudo-random. I'm not normally in control over them. Bent can trigger them, but he usually is not the one who triggers them. So, there are, most of the time, those come in through other people who have triggered that noise without even knowing how they did it. Good luck trying to figure it out yourself if you haven't already watched all the Kents with Bents where I've told you how it's done. All right.
I don't even remember how it's done.
Yes, you do.
Not the Mothra one.
Oh, all right. I guess you don't remember the Mothra one. So anytime it's Mothra, I guess it's not Bent Hovend.
Also, Dapper Dino is at my house right now. He's right back there.
Yes, that is the fanciest of...
Right direction.
Almost. That is the fanciest fleece blanket, which is available in the merch store, which is linked in the description of essentially all my videos. There you go. And Brainbug, you love Mothra? Well, you would, Brainbug. That makes sense. Oh, and Fluffy T-Wex, this is your first live stream on the channel? Well, welcome. I hope that you have fun with this, because we're about to dive right back into this horror show of just being dumb.
The Hoven theory.
Theory, right. As a quick recap, we just learned about the supermassive ice comet that hit the Earth, cooling it down somehow, and also created the rings around all the gas giants and all the craters all across the galaxy. Or not galaxy,
Well, the
solar
solar
system. Yeah, okay. I don't...
and creating all of the comets and asteroids, and I think the entire Kuiper Belt, but I'm not sure. Or maybe he doesn't believe in that, or does he not believe in the Oort cloud? Or...
I don't think he believes in the Oort cloud or the Kuiper Belt, but I'm not really sure. Well, maybe we'll find out, because here we go.
By the way, they're still discovering chunks of ice flying around in space. Here's an article about a scientist
I like how he says it like it's some kind of new thing. Like, okay.
who discovered chunks of ice as big as this auditorium are hitting the Earth all the time. They dissolve in space, but it rains down as water. There's water everywhere in space. Science and technology article here. If you go to the North Pole, you'll be kind of chilly, and one of only 400 people that have ever been there.
Red square around some blurry print.
You know what, though? He did say that if you go to the North Pole, you'll be pretty chilly. So that's correct. We're going to drink for Kent. Good job, Kent. Oh, by the way, what are we drinking today, Bent?
Today I have some gingerberry kombucha.
All right.
And then I have water.
Okay.
And then with ice, and then I'm going to just be getting more drinks, I'm sure.
Okay. And I'm currently, unfortunately, drinking Coke Zero with the cheapest vodka I can buy because I'm trying to save money, especially during this whole isolation thing. And I'm trying to get groceries as infrequently as possible. So, but I broke out my gas mask. Because, in case anyone doesn't know, I have a Navy issue gas mask that I tried to return and they didn't take, so I just took it.
Up
Come
around the
back
North
tomorrow.
Pole, there's an
Well, I'm
ocean called the
gone
Arctic
forever
Ocean.
tomorrow. Too
I
bad.
went
Come
up to
on.
see the Arctic Ocean a couple years ago, and the
Why
guy said,
can't
"Hey,
I
Brother Holman, you know
pause?
something interesting about this ocean?
Okay, there, I can pause now.
It has no tide." I said, "Man, I never thought of that. Taught her science for 15 years. Arctic Ocean has no tide. And who cares, right?" Anyway, but there's an island up there called the New Siberian Islands off the coast of Russia. There on those New Siberian Islands, they find frozen bobcats, frozen lynx, frozen camels.
I really want him to get to a point.
I
Because,
don't care if he gets to a point.
alright.
What
I'll tell you
happened?
what his point is. I'll make a prediction.
When they drill down,
Oh, let's hear the prediction, because we sometimes drink for predictions.
The only way they could have been there is because of the flood. That's what Ken's going to say.
I think he's going to say that an ice comet hit them in the face and flash froze them. Maybe not in the face part, but flash froze them.
Maybe.
through the ice, when they get to the South Pole and drill through the ice, they find coal under the ice at the South Pole. I would like to point out, Your Honor, there are no trees in Antarctica. 0.
Anymore, okay.
Admiral Byrd went down there and said they saw frozen palm trees or palm leaves near the South Pole. Scientists have discovered all sorts of frozen leaves, even dinosaur fossils, plant-eating dinosaurs, near the South Pole.
I mean, he continues to be right, so we'll drink for that, because I like South Pole dinosaurs. In fact, actually, if you've ever seen Walking with Dinosaurs, they do a whole episode about dinosaurs and other animals living at the South Pole. Or around the South Pole. It wasn't actually directly on the South Pole, but you get what I mean. It was in Antarctica.
Thousands of well-preserved leaves found in Antarctica. Leaves on the side of a cliff 250 miles from the South Pole. And the leaves still retain their original cellular structure and organic content. They're
Well, now
not
he's just
petrified.
quoting.
They're preserved. They find dinosaurs, plant-eating dinosaurs, in northern Alaska.
Yeah.
Maybe you were
There
right
are
the
no
first
trees
time.
up
He
there. I
won't
was
get to
there.
a
There's
point.
nothing. Not a blade of grass in most places. See, the Earth actually has 2 North Poles. We have a geographic North Pole where we spin around. We also have a...
Drink for Godzilla. Also, we're going to drink a second time because Ken is getting this right. So you're right. There's a geographic and a magnetic North Pole, Ken. Good job.
magnetic North Pole in Canada, where the compass actually points. Now here in Tennessee, it probably doesn't make a lick of difference. Your compass points north because both of them pretty much line up. But if you live in Alaska, your magnetic north is way different than the real north, and pilots have to learn to adjust for that.
Okay.
And who cares, right? Okay. I think what happened, the mammoths were up there chomping on their tropical flowers. It was a beautiful day.
Drink for Godzilla.
And it began to snow. Super cold snow.
Super cold snow.
They had never seen snow before.
Yeah, the mammoths, the furry mammoths, with all of their adaptations to cold weather, along with all the furry rhinos that you find up there. Never seen snow before. Also, I like how he's like, oh, what about all those plant-eating dinosaurs? Why aren't any of those frozen, Kent? Why don't we find flash frozen, I don't know, oh, now I can't think of the thing from Alaska with the little bump on its nose. It's a ceratopsian. Why can't I think of the name, Bent?
I don't know.
Pachyrhinosaurus. That's it.
I don't know why you couldn't think of that.
I couldn't. I
Probably
don't
because
know.
you're drunk on vodka already.
I really doubt it. There's really not that much fun.
And it's not just cold snow, isn't it? The 300 below
Right,
snow?
it's super cold stuff.
Super cold.
Oh, man. You know, it can be too cold for it to snow.
You say so.
That's the thing. It can actually be so cold that ice crystals can't actually form into the size of snowflakes because the water is already too low energy to arrange itself into snowflakes. That's actually the case over much of Antarctica. It's one of the reasons why it's a desert, because it is almost never warm enough for it to snow. So it never precipitates.
Interesting.
Yeah.
One of the mammoths looked at his buddy and he said, Herman, this is peculiar weather we're having here. What is this white stuff falling out of the sky? They said, I don't know, but let's get out of here. They started running around trying to find a place to hide, and the snow got deeper and deeper and deeper, and they got stuck in the snow standing up, and they couldn't even fall down. How many of you have ever been in a snowdrift so deep you couldn't even fall over? You ever been in one of those?
Yeah, but I'm not an elephant.
I wasn't standing like the whole time it was snowing, just wondering, can I fall over now? Yes, I can. How about now? Wait, no, I can't now. That doesn't make any sense.
So
I mean, they didn't have YouTube back then, so maybe they got bored and did that.
So this is even stupider, I think, than the flash freezing. His idea is super cold snow is coming down so rapidly that by the time a mammoth dies, it's frozen standing up, even though the frozen mammoths are not actually found standing up. Oh, drink for Godzilla. And the other thing is, they're not found in chunks of ice, right? They're found in permafrost. That's how this works. You don't find a frozen mammoth just hanging out in a clear block of ice like a Hollywood movie. But hey, whatever.
But Hollywood, though.
Right. Oh, man.
I think that's what happened to the mammoths. People say, well, the mammoths have long hair. They're designed for cold weather. No, mammoths are not designed for cold weather.
Okay.
A lot of animals in the jungle have long hair.
Yeah, but they're not gigantic elephants that have problem with thermal regulation. Like, you'll notice that, like, oh, hey, look, all these tropical animals with fur, right. But the really big ones, like, you know, a rhinoceros or a hippo or an elephant, they don't have too much hair. You know why? Because when you get that big, you start to generate a lot of heat just by moving around and digesting your food. And extra hair is going to cause overheating problems. Now, where in the world could you go where an elephant would need to have a coat of fur despite how much warmth it generates on its own?
Somewhere really cold.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like gigantothermy is a thing.
Like the North Pole or my heart or...
You mean your ex's heart?
Yes.
Oh, man. I think he's going to make his... Oh, drink for Godzilla. Who is doing
None
this?
of these are me.
Oh, I have a feeling I know who it is.
I did the test, and that was it.
Come
Where
on.
it's hot.
There we go.
Okay. If the temperature is 70 degrees, long hair is just simply a decoration.
A decoration.
And there's a lot of things about the mammoth that shows they are not designed for cold weather. There's a whole section just in this book
Drink for Godzilla.
about mammoths are not designed for cold weather. And you can read all about that. So the mammoths, some of them ended up frozen standing up in super cold ice.
Look how standing up it is. I like that this is the picture he shows us.
Why isn't Kent standing instead of that guy? It should be Kent Hogan.
Oh, I don't know. But it's like there's found frozen standing up. Here's one that's not. Thanks, man. And I love the citation here. Reader's Digest is his citation. Awesome. Doesn't even give a year. It's just Reader's
Strange
Digest.
Stories, amazing facts.
From what year?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
You know what? Strange Stories, Amazing Facts sounds like Jonathan Frakes Fact or Fiction. Did this really happen? Well, no, that was a lie.
Or all the questions. Have you ever been driving down a lonely road at night? Have you ever tried to fix your own printer?
Watch it at half speed. It's pretty funny.
I love the supercuts.
Pretend he's drunk.
I love the supercuts of all the questions because they're all just nonsensical.
300 below zero. As the ice goes pushing out toward...
300 below zero. Oh my, you know what? No, I'm just going to drink for it because that's, oh my God.
You drank for it last week when it was still just as stupid.
Well, now it's this week and I have a different beverage. So there you go.
the equator, it's going to carve out glacial grooves. If you live in Ohio, if you go out to Kelly's Island, you can go out in the Lake Erie and see the glacial grooves, scratches across the rock for miles. I think the ice age really happened, but it happened at the beginning of the flood.
I'm sorry. So,
Dude. Yeah.
So miles-long glaciers, which are composed of compacted snow, basically, which can't just compact instantaneously, right? It has to actually settle out because snow isn't all that dense. So to compactify takes a while. Then it has to flow, and of course, I don't know if you know this about snow, but it doesn't flow all that well. And ice flows even less well. I know. So in the course of what? I mean, it has to happen before the water gets that high, and the water was going up for 70 days, he said earlier in this speech. So we have at maximum, 70 days for this amount of snow to fall, for it to compactify, and for it to flow that far. I mean, I don't even have to do the math, and that seems far-fetched to me.
There are basically two theories among creationists about the Ice Age. One theory says the Ice Age caused the flood, which is what I believe. The other theory says the flood caused the Ice Age. A minor difference.
That second one has the option of expanding the time frame available for the Ice Age features to be something that is at least a little bit less unbelievable. But sure, Kent, you go with yours.
I don't think it's worth fighting over. But either case, though, I think the flood would, or the Ice Age would last several hundred years after the flood. During the
So wait, hold on. There's one Ice Age before the flood. Is there an Ice Age during the flood? Is half the flood water actually just icebergs? Because
I think we should wait for Kent to explain, because I don't know.
it just becomes less and less coherent as it goes. It's amazing.
Drink! Monk Mayfair got it right. Drink!
Oh, there you go. Thanks, Monk Mayfair. Also, by the way, I didn't say hi in the chat, Ilya, because I was already doing the live thing, but welcome. It's nice to see you here.
time after the flood, as populations are growing, if somebody misbehaves, instead of building a jail and putting them in there where you got to feed them for the rest of their life, just banish them. Say, get out of here. You can't stay with our civilization. And boy, if times were hard and just new struggling civilization like Gilligan's Island, being banished is punishment enough. Now, you're going to follow the Ice Age animals around and kill them and, leave your toolbox behind because you don't want to carry 50 pounds of rocks with you. You wait till you find the mammoth herd and you make your tools on the spot and kill the mammoth.
No. You can't just find appropriate flint every single place in the world where there might happen to be a mammoth, Kent. Further, flint napping takes a while. It's a delicate, high-skill process that you can't just do at the drop of a hat. It makes about as much sense as saying, oh, you know what? If you're going hunting, don't bother to bring your own gun or bullets or gunpowder. Just find, some iron ore in the ground, smelt it into a gun and some ammunition, and then find all the ingredients you need for gunpowder, grind them up on the spot, then use it to kill whatever animal you need to kill, then just drop them. No, that's... Oh my god. I'll drink again. That's not how hunting works, Kent. There are still Stone Age people groups in the world. That's not what they do.
That's why they find, scrapers for skin and all kinds of flint arrowheads and stuff are found all over the world.
Yeah.
These guys are, they really do use these stone tools to kill these animals, but they don't carry them with them because they're so plentiful. They're found all over the arrowheads and stuff like that. Anyway, then
it's the same thing. I'm just going to keep going.
super cold ice at the pole would send off a cold wave, like when you open the freezer and the cold air comes out and falls at your feet.
Wave, right.
This cold air hitting warm air would cause it.
So we didn't do the math ourselves, but you did pull up the math on what would actually happen if this hypothetical comet hit the Earth, right? Wasn't it enough to essentially vaporize the entire surface of the Earth?
I didn't pull that up. Someone else demonstrated that, I think, in the chat, but
yeah,
it would basically destroy the planet.
Yeah, the math has been checked on this. If a comet of the kind of mass that Kent Hovind is purporting were to hit the Earth, it would not be a wave of cold that would circle the Earth. It would be a wave of superheated plasma that would melt the entire surface of the Earth and turn it into a ball of lava. Because, as it turns out, the conservation of energy is a thing. And if you take a ridiculous amount of potential energy and you slam it onto the ground, that potential energy gets turned into kinetic energy, and then when it stops moving, the kinetic energy has to go into... What do you think, Bent?
Well, for a while there's kinetic energy, and then there's heat energy, and then there's a lot more heat energy, and then holy crap, it's really hot in here.
Yeah, because all that kinetic energy has to get turned into thermal energy, because what are the other options for it to get turned into?
It could disappear miraculously.
Well, that would be a violation of those laws of thermodynamics that Kent is so fond of. Well,
is he, though?
He's only fond of them when he pretends that they help his cause. Otherwise,
I mean,
they
I don't
can
know
get
what
wrecked.
I don't know what other options.
Yeah, no, there aren't any.
to rain. And it rained 40 days and 40 nights. The canopy collapsed. The Bible says all the fountains of the deep were broken up in one day. If you read the book of Jasher, you can get it from our ministry. I cannot verify that it's legitimate, the actual book of Jasher referred to in the Bible. There is a book of Jasher referred to in the Bible. This may or may not be it, I don't know. But it's interesting reading nonetheless. In the book of Jasher it says, "And on that day the Lord caused the whole earth to shake, and the sun darkened, and the foundations of the world raged, and the whole earth was moved violently, and lightning flashed, and the thunder roared, and all the foundations of the earth were broken up." Jasher chapter 6. Interesting. I think what happened, the dump of ice on the poles caused the earth's crust to crack. Ice spread out toward the equator.
I'll say it would have caused the Earth's crust to crack, that's true, but it wouldn't be ice that's spreading out.
Buried the mammoths, made the earth wobble, and earth was totally covered by water. The Bible says all the high hills were covered. Now there are some idiots out there teaching it was just a local flood in the days of Noah.
Oh, drink from Mothra.
The Bible says the high hills were covered. It's not a local flood. If the earth were reduced down to the size of this globe right here, all the oceans in the world would only fill
local
about
hills
one.
anywhere, Kent?
I think he just means that... Yeah, that's a good question. But I guess if he's just trying to say that there's like a seeming conflict between all the high hills, which is kind of a Hebrew phrase for mountains, although it's used of pretty small features that we probably wouldn't consider mountains today. But,
Like hills, maybe?
Yeah, basically. I don't know. It doesn't seem completely incompatible with the idea of a local flood to me, but hey, I'm not here to be Ken Hovind's Bible teacher.
1 tablespoon. If you smoothed out the earth, the oceans right now would be 12,000 feet deep. Oceans average 12,000 feet deep. But if you smoothed out the earth, they would average 8,000 feet deep everywhere. There's plenty of water on the earth to cover the planet.
Yeah, if you smooth it out like a cue ball, actually much smoother than a cue ball, but do you have any evidence to say the Earth was ever that smooth, Kent? Any at all?
Technically,
the Bible said the world was covered in a flood.
Oh,
and that's evidence.
So in order to... So he's retconning the Bible to make it make sense of... To make his interpretation make sense with what he sees in the natural world.
Kind of.
Okay.
He's also retconning reality.
Well,
history.
I mean, he's been doing that for a while. It's just good to know that he's also retconning the Bible. Like, Bible's not good enough on its own. Let me fix it.
A drop of water would cover the planet if you spread it real thin. I mean, real thin.
Nope.
I flew back over the Pacific one time, and I came back.
Oh, come on. Yeah, it turns out you need a particular amount of water. You can't have an indefinitely small amount of water and still cover things. So...
Well, he didn't say indefinitely small. He said 1 drop.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like
That's still not enough.
A water molecule has a certain cross-section. And you can only cover something if you have at least a monolayer of water molecules, so it's 1 molecule thick. And I believe it was Logic. He did the math on this, not me. But
How much water do you need?
It was actually like several 100,000 gallons to cover the entire Earth in a monolayer. Yeah, like you couldn't do it with a drop at all, not even close.
Whoops, Kent.
Yeah.
Whoops.
And he assumed that the Earth was in fact smooth, so you didn't have any extra surface area from verticality.
Okay.
Yeah. So
he's giving Kent benefit of the doubt there a little bit, like just trying to help Kent be right.
Then we got a $2.99 redo. Super chat from Ian Chen. Thank you very much for your super chat, Ian. He says, wouldn't Iron Man Dapper have 3 fingers? Probably, but I'll be honest, I wasn't going to do that much work for a joke thumbnail. So, but hey.
Wait, it was a joke? I thought it was real.
You thought you were really Thor?
I was hoping.
Well, I can understand that. You looked like Thor.
That hair was awesome.
I said to one of the guys in my office, I said, man, that Pacific Ocean is huge. He said, that's just the top of it. Wow, what a thought. That is just the top of it. There's a lot of water in these oceans out there. When the climbers got to the top Mount Everest, 1953, the year I was born, they got up here on Mount Everest. They began to find something interesting. Petrified clams.
We will get back to Petrified Clams in just a second because we also have another $2.99 redo super chat from Ian Chen, who says, "Can't wait to listen this tonight." I can't talk. Can't wait to listen to this tonight. Good job, Dapper Dino. Thank you very much, Ian, and I hope that you enjoy it tonight. You know, Ian Chen, as you can tell by the dollar redo donations, he's in the world down under, or land down under? Yeah, land down under, where it's like, I don't know, 86 hours ahead of us or something, somehow. I'm pretty sure that Australia just breaks the laws of physics and the flat earthers are right. Alright. Petrified clams, quote unquote.
On top Mount Everest.
Oh, except that's not a clam, that's a conglomeration. That's already been looked into. Whoops. That's literally just a rock that is vaguely shaped like a clam.
You know what you should do is call that phone number on that slide and tell them.
I can barely... Where's the phone number?
1-800-360-3601. Don't everyone
Oh,
spam
yeah.
that. Don't do that.
Express Times. Nah.
Don't be doing prank calls on that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna call
If
right
one
now.
person did it now and it was Dapper,
Then it would be okay?
that'd be a little bit different.
I'll
'cause
leave
it's
it
not
up.
like,
I'll leave it up to a mod.
It's not like spamming their number.
Oh, and
You know what I mean?
goodness, Ian Chen with yet another $2.99 reduce. Let's see. I thought you were a transitional form, half dino / man. Now there you go. That could be it. I have a dino
think
face and the
The
man arms.
The suit wasn't really sure how many fingers you had.
Oh, because it had to like build
When it
itself
made it
around
so.
me. Yeah.
I don't know how it works. I tried. Sorry.
I mean, it was a valiant effort.
It was an effort.
Okay.
In Peru, a couple years ago, they found giant oysters up to 11 feet across, 2 miles above sea level.
No, they didn't.
That's a big oyster. You should see the pearl. And these clams are interesting.
Show me
I've
the
got some
pearl,
on the
Ken.
table down here. They're petrified clams in the closed position.
Okay, let's take a look. Let's see. Most of those are, at least some of those are definitely not clams. So up top here, we've got a brachiopod, not a clam. Then over to the left, it looks like we got a snail. To the right of the top brachiopod, looks like we got another. Actually, that looks like it could be some kind of like nautiloid. To the right of that, I can't tell what that is. It could just be a rock. Then down below, we have these 3 white things at the bottom. I can't tell what they are. They could be clams, maybe, but they could also just be nothing because this is a terrible photo. And then we have this little ridged guy, which could be a clam, but the angle is bad, so I can't tell. And I actually also suspect it's a brachiopod, mostly because the sides aren't really well mirrored. They're sort of got this isometric mirroring, which is more typical of a brachiopod than a bivalve. So there you go. And in case you guys didn't know, brachiopods aren't even in the same phylum as clams. Yeah.
Did you do a video on that once?
I mentioned it in my either in my collaboration with FTFE or the follow-up that I did on my channel. I think it was in the actual collaboration. So if you want to hear me go on a little bit more about that, check out FTFE's channel where he has his Stupid Humans series, and I was his guest for episode 1 of Stupid Humans. So there you go.
Now think about it for a minute. When a clam dies, it opens. The muscle inside relaxes, the ligaments on the outside pull the shell open almost instantly.
Well, not that much, because that requires you to tear the tissues. Like, you shucked oysters or clams or something like that, haven't you, Bent?
Yeah, like a few times.
Do you remember? Oh my goodness. Hold on a second. We have another, my goodness. Ian Chen, you're gonna buy my dinner or something at this point. We got a $7.99 reduced super chat. Just because I really love your content. Okay, have to go now. See you, Dapper. See you, Bent. I thought Thor was Aussie. I thought he was
Sorry.
Asgardian.
You know, I can't remember where I'm from. All my memories are stored in my long hair, which I cut off. Yeah, let's go with that.
Your brain is Samson from the Bible?
I don't even know what that means because I'm so dumb because my hair's so short.
All right. But yeah, when a clam just dies and it just sits there, like it doesn't open a splay open for quite a while. It actually takes some kind of scavenging or at least continuous action of like waves and tides and stuff. So, yeah. Yeah.
When a clam dies, it opens up. How would you get bazillions of petrified clams in the closed position?
Oh, you know what doesn't open up when it dies, though, Bent?
Not clams.
Well, brachiopods, specifically. Something that we just talked about. So the thing about brachiopods is that while they have paired shells, first their shells are top and bottom, whereas clams have left and right half shells. And it's a little bit complicated as to how you make that determination, but it has to do with embryology and the arrangement of the internal anatomy and planes of symmetry and whatnot, right? So there's that. And one of the other things is that when a brachiopod opens its shell, it has to use muscle tension to keep the shell open. Whereas for a bivalve, it has to use muscle tension to close the shell. So when a bivalve relaxes, the shell opens. When a brachiopod relaxes, the shell closes. So, even if it were true that clams just splayed open immediately like butterfly wings with their shells when they died, you could find a lot of brachiopods buried in the closed position, because that's the position they assume when they die. Until, of course, again, they get scavenged and then they open up again. But, you know.
On top of mountains all over the world.
Uplift.
Well, I would like to point out, Your Honor, that Mount Everest is a little ways from the beach, number one. Number two.
I mean, now, yeah, but not always.
Clams do not climb mountains very well.
Right.
And number three, when a clam dies, it opens.
That is true. Yeah, we'll drink for him saying clams don't climb mountains.
I already have to get more drink because I'm already out.
What? Man, are you just dehydrated? Are you okay?
There have been quite a few drinks.
I know, but I still have most of my first drink.
Well, to be honest, that kombucha was like half done when we started.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep going for a bit. Good luck. All right, here we go.
The best explanation for this is they were buried alive. Sometimes huge beds of these are found. A guy in Opp, Alabama said, Brother Hovind, you want some petrified clams for a museum? I said, yeah. He said, they're 4 feet thick in my backyard. When he rototills his garden, he brings up thousands of petrified clams, closed petrified clams.
Oh, you mean on land that was once part of the Western Interior Seaway? That makes sense. Now, if you were to go to the same level in, say, the geologic column over in the Appalachians, which at the time of the Western Interior Seaway was part of Appalachia, one of the two continents, well, one of the two above water type continents, I bet you wouldn't find any clams. Instead, you would find scattered fossils of things like dinosaurs, like Appalachiosaurus. Or if you went west into, like the higher parts of the Rockies, you would find other things like Tyrannosaurus or Triceratops or Dakotaraptor or other such animals. But hey, did I just lose? I think I might have just lost Bent Hovind. Yeah, I think Skype just went down. So give me a second, everybody. I'm going to try and get him back. Give me 1 second. Here, have a music video. All right, looks like we have Bent Hovind back, no relation to Kent Hovind.
I don't know what happened there.
I'm not sure either. One of us dropped. It's not that big a deal. We got you back. I put up the slideshow of transitional fossils that everyone likes because it has nice music.
I
And
just want a way to get a thing.
I know it's all right. It's not a big deal.
I'm sorry.
But we also have 2 more super chats. One for $2 dues from John Rapp, who says, 2 Aussie clams for the drinking budget. Good on you guys. And we have another one for $22.99 dues from Ian Chen, who thank you very much. You guys have been great tonight. Get a nice dinner, mate. All the talking maketh a dino throat sore. Actually, you're not entirely wrong about that. Follow up with some grog, in parentheses, alcohol. Bent Thor, played by Aussie actor Dapper. Do you have rocks? Do you have the rocks were there? I am currently trying to work on the book budget and try to figure out what that is before I go ahead and grab the books or the rocks were there. Very much like to get it. It is on the Dapper Dino. What do you call it? Amazon wish list. So if anyone is feeling particularly generous, feel free to donate a copy of the rocks were there. Although now I don't know when Amazon is shipping things because apparently they're just not shipping anything except like food, hand sanitizer, diapers, and I think like medications.
They're shipping to me, but it's taking longer.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess there's that. You can't get your guaranteed 2-day Prime shipping?
No.
Oh. All right.
But
We've got a bump.
share your screen with me again.
Oh, I'm not sharing my screen with you. I'm sorry.
You were until I screwed up. I mean, wait. Yeah, I'll take the blame. It's my fault. I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
It might not be. I don't know.
I don't think it is. I'm going to go ahead and blame Kent Hovind. Or Legs.
I could blame Legs.
Yeah, I'd be happy blaming both of them, actually. You guys don't really know who Legs is. He's our friend who's never around. So we just blame him for everything.
That's why he's not here.
Exactly.
Because he's never here.
Right, he's never anywhere. All right, even when he stopped working through, injuries, he still was never around. And now we're drinking some Cock and Bull ginger beer.
Cock and Bull.
Nice.
Ginger beer.
In our museum down in Pensacola,
Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Florida. Even fragile items like eggs are found fossilized. I believe the sediments would settle out of this flood. Fine sediments would preserve things in incredible detail. Here's a fossilized jellyfish.
Okay, so the same flood was raining down comets, creating craters on the moon, spewing water out of these vast underground reservoirs that was going in at orbital and escape velocities. All this was going on. Mountains were being pushed up from the earth. Valleys were sinking down, glaciers were forming and carving trenches through the earth, earthquakes were going on, but there was also gentle, fine-grained sediments falling softly and preserving dinosaur eggs with pristine preservation, even preserving the little nests that the dinosaur moms made underwater in the flood to lay their eggs in as they were drowning.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most internally coherent thing I've ever heard of.
Mm-hmm.
That was called sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
We have an arm to an octopus, fossilized octopus arm in our museum. Soft tissue simply doesn't fossilize. Under very special conditions are required.
Yeah, and that's why it's not very common. Good job finding an exception. What kind of evidence is this supposed to be?
Why does he have a globe with him on his podium?
It makes him look smarter.
No, it doesn't.
Well, he thinks it does.
No, he doesn't.
Well, maybe the church just had it.
They didn't know where to put it.
They just put it on their cross-shaped podium.
Yeah.
The Bible says the fountains of the deep broke open. So I think the earth got struck by a meteor. The water underneath went shooting to the surface, and the earth was covered with water. See, the earth's crust is kind of interesting. Pretty thin, actually, in some spots. 3 to 5 miles thick under the crust, under the oceans, and 30 miles thick under the continents. The hot water from inside the earth would come shooting out, and it would kill animals that live within a certain radius of the crack as the hot water escaped. As the basalt bulged up in the middle, the plates are going to slide down, explaining, as I said earlier, about the wrinkled mountains. Take a look at these mountains in British Columbia. They've been pressed from the end, wrinkled up.
Yeah, they have been wrinkled up, Kent. It's stock standard plate tectonic activity. As the Indian subcontinent, the plate it's on pushes into the Asian plate, the continental crust starts to buckle upwards, and it doesn't buckle evenly everywhere, so you get folding. Like, this is still going on. This isn't I don't. No, we're gonna drink for it.
Kent's giving me a brain ache.
Yeah. Yeah.
What happened? As the water came shooting out, the hot water would kill all sorts of things within a certain radius. If you poured a gallon of boiling water into your aquarium, it would kill all the fishies within a certain distance, okay?
I mean, unless you have a really big aquarium, I'm just going to go ahead and say it would probably kill all of them, but sure. If you had a really big aquarium, yeah, you could probably only kill some of them, sure.
The temperature was dissipated. All over the world, little tiny creatures called diatoms are found dead in great big thick beds called diatomaceous earth.
Kent got one right. We drink for it. Did you drink for it? There you go. You're like you're like the safest person to play along with a drinking game, because you're not actually drinking any alcohol.
Yeah, but still, there's only so much liquid my liver can handle.
That's not how that works.
My kidneys can handle?
Yeah, but it's going to be a really high amount.
My stomach can handle?
And that's going to be a smaller amount, but it's still going to be pretty big.
These diatoms are super tiny. It takes about 1,000 years to get an inch of dead diatoms at the bottom of the ocean.
Yep.
They very slowly accumulate.
But Kent, do you know why they accumulate slowly? It's because they have such a high drag that in order to settle down onto the bottom, it takes a really long time. If you're about to propose some kind of horrible hot water event where after boiling water spurts up from the earth, violently killing everything, you're not going to get diatomaceous earth because that's going to be too turbulent. This is not, I'm going to see if that's what he predicts. If that's what he goes for, we're going to drink for it.
When it dries out, they pack it into a special powder called diatomaceous earth. It is used for all sorts of things. It's used as kitty litter. It's used as oil dye. Diatomaceous earth is used as swimming pool filters, used in bricks, used in aspirin, used in medicines. It's used in all sorts of strange things you would never think of. It's diatomaceous earth because it is so absorbent. I was in Lompoc, California preaching, and I went to visit the world's largest diatomaceous earth quarry. I believe it's the world's largest. They're in Lompoc, California, which is right smack on top of the San Andreas Fault. There in Lompoc, California, back in 1976, they found the fossil skeleton of a whale standing on end, 80 feet long.
Wait 1 second. So we have a question from Monk Mayfair. Wait, are they what makes up the majority of ocean snow? So no. So what you're probably thinking of, if I'm getting this right, is marine snow, which is primarily bits of dead, mostly animals, which actually falls through the water column and then is variously scavenged. Diatoms are extremely tiny and do not make up a significant portion of the marine snow that is what kind of feeds most benthic ecosystems. But also, I want to look this up, because I don't believe, Kent, that this whale existed. So, let's see. I can't see my thing. Standing whale fossil. Okay, we'll try vertical. Vertical whale fossil. Near Lompoc? I don't know. I'll believe Kent that it's Lompoc. Oh, Creation Wiki. Look at that. We found something from Creation Wiki, so we know it's a creationist claim that's out there. Let's see. Source. It's a young world after all. I mean, is there really not a better source than It's a Young World After All, page 81 through 83? Is that really the best we're going to get?
3 pages of the book, so that's the conclusion. I don't know how many pages there are, actually.
Oh, my computer's getting all slow. Stop being slow, computer. Let's see. Oh, we got the Talk Origins on that. Let's see. The real story. Had anyone taken the time and trouble to check the facts, they would have found out that the story by Russell took some liberty with the facts and lacked very important information. By the way, you guys are about to hear me start reading out loud, which will give you some kind of a clue as to how often I flub lines when I'm doing my audio recording, and it's a lot. First, the skeleton was not found in a vertical position, but was lying at a 50 to 40 degree angle. Aww. All right, we're gonna, I'm just gonna drink for every time Kent got something factually incorrect. That's one. Finally, although at this angle the whale skeleton lay parallel to the bedding of the strata, which at one time was at the seafloor on which the dead whale fell after death. Oh, so it wasn't through multiple strata. Okay. These facts were confirmed by inquiring with the people at the Los Alamos, whatever, who excavated the whale. Although nothing had been published on the whale, Russell clearly identified the staff who excavated the skeleton as they could have easily. Okay, because as he could have easily called the museum. The strata containing the whale consist of diatoms that accumulated within deep bays and the basins that lay along the Pacific coast during the Miocene times. As a result of folding and tectonics associated with the formation of the transverse ranges, the strata containing the close skeleton has to have been tilted into a less than vertical position. These sediments, blah, blah, blah. Furthermore, partially buried. Okay, so, yeah.
So it was standing upright, except that it wasn't.
Right.
Got it. Thanks, Kent. Also, the book is 131 pages. I looked it up.
Also, I am getting from YouTube an indication that we may have some buffering. If that is the case, I am sorry. YouTube has really been having trouble with buffering for about a month now, and it's mostly because of increased use because, well, people are stuck at home, so they're using YouTube. So I apologize if that's happening. There's literally nothing I can do about it, and I wish there were something I could do. Yeah. Yeah, so it was 40 to 50 degrees from current horizontal, as Monk Mayfair points out. Not then horizontal. And, yeah, it was fossilized horizontally. So.
Running through diatomaceous earth.
Okay.
Now, I know the whale is parallel with the layers. That's okay, because the layers have tilted up also. So,
wow. 40 to 50 degrees. That's not 40 to 50 degrees, Kent.
the thickness of the whale becomes the problem, not the length. But still, if this stuff accumulates an inch every 1,000 years, how long is a dead whale going to lay there waiting for this stuff to gather around him?
It's not that it accumulates an inch every 50,000 years, it's that it lithifies at about that rate. What you have in an area that's actively forming diatomaceous earth, right, is you have the bottom layers of this diatomaceous formation that are actually lithified, right? They're rocks. But then as you go up, you get less and less solid material because it hasn't compacted yet. You can kind of think of it like let's say you had, what's a good example? Like a candle, right? So you light a candle, and at the top, the wax is basically watery, right? And then as you get just outside the flame, it gets a little rubbery, right? And then as you go down, it's solid, right? It's that kind of thing. And we just had another $2.99 reduced super chat from Ian Sen, who said, just bought book for you, delivered May 8th. Enjoy. Oh, thank you very much, Ian. That is amazing. Thank you.
I need Ian Chen to be my friend. This guy is the
Ian
nicest
Chen,
guy.
you are the best. I really appreciate that, and I am going to devour that book in just over a month when it finally gets here because of the horrible shipping craziness. Thank you very much. That's really great. I guess I can't say anything else except thank you very much, and it really is appreciated. You were one of my most generous fans, and it means a lot to me that even with all this crazy time difference and stuff, you still show up and support so much. So thank you very much. Yeah, that's okay. I can't continue being speechless. I have to say more things. But anyway, so yeah. So that's the thing about this diatomaceous earth, right? It's going to be really watery and loose at the top. So something that falls into it can sink into it, which is what probably happened to this whale. And there you go. Like, I don't see why that's going to be a horrible, complicated thing. Also, if anyone in the chat can let me know how the stream quality is doing, I'm just curious as to what it's like from your end, because it's not the same from my end to your end. So,
Well, I'll just let you know that
Dead whale.
I didn't hear you for a while, and then Skype mentioned that connection was lost, and then I came back right away. So
okay.
I don't know how Skype's doing right now.
Well, it's a rough time for the internet overall. So, well, we're gonna charge forward though.
Whales are dissolved at the bottom of the ocean in a few weeks or months. Even the bones eventually disappear. They gave me a chunk of their diatomaceous earth out there. In that one little square foot, there are dozens, maybe even up to 60 fish skeletons. You know, fish skeletons are found in diatomaceous earth, and they're found with their gills extended, their fins extended. They died terrified. Whatever was happening.
I like how Kent Hovind apparently knows what kind of facial expression a fish makes when it's scared. They died terrified because their gills are extended?
It's the same expression they always have, Ken.
Right. They just look like fish.
They look like fish.
Oh, man. And I love this whole thing. Like, he's basically just being like, I'm just going to ignore all the taphonomy about diatomaceous earth and fossilization. We'll just pretend that taphonomy work has never been done. And for those who don't know, because it's not a common word, taphonomy is the scientific study of how fossils form.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to explain that for the audience.
For the audience, yeah, because they might not know.
Because they might not know what
Right.
that word said.
Happening to them was terrifying these creatures.
Oh, look at the looks of horror and shock on all those fish.
Never seen a more scared-looking fish. Also.
I have to drink for this. It's just... I don't know if it's funnier or more dumb. The fish look terrified. Oh, okay, let's keep... This is the funniest thing Ken Hovind has ever said as far as I'm concerned. The fish look terrified.
That the mouth is open? Obviously it died screaming. That's John Rapp. Thank you, John Rapp.
Oh, man.
You get it.
That is great.
You understand.
Oh, this is amazing. Terrified Fish is the name of my new ska band, Rodent Low last name. Yes. Oh.
I will join your band, please.
Oh, ask Kent to say Octopterigi 3 times fast. Yeah, no, he's not. He doesn't even know that word.
Fossil fish are found by the trillions. The chalk cliffs of England and Dover, England are found this way. Chalk, from the Latin word crescia, which means chalk. Chalk 300 feet thick. There was a catastrophe that formed all this. The Bible says the
No, because chalk can't form a catastrophe. We've already been over it.
waters prevailed upon the earth. I think what happened during the first part of the flood, dead things settled out. And that flood represents God's judgment on this planet. Point number 5 of the Hovind theory is during the first few months of the flood, the dead animals would settle out. People ask, why aren't more human fossils found? Well, humans are smarter than animals. Some humans are, and some animals.
Well, he did say some humans and some animals.
That's true. You got that right. I'll drink to that.
Oh, all right, yeah, that's fair. Oh, Exavolt Grunt, you just got here? Well, I mean, we're following our drinking rules, which we'll probably go back over at the top of the hour just to make sure that we are aware of them. And we're just laughing at all of the stupid stuff that Ken Hovind says, because it's fun. So there you go.
They would tend to avoid drowning till the last possible minute. Animals that are buried on top or very, very shallow soil are not going to fossilize. Think of all the millions of buffalo that were killed out west in the last few hundred years. None of them fossilized because they weren't buried.
You know, it's funny because there are fossil buffalo, and they only exist where they live now, where, you know, they evolved. But according to Kent, the buffalo got off of the Ark after Noah's flood and then just happened to all settle back down in their ancestral homelands after walking across all of Asia, I guess. Not leaving any fossils anywhere else. Just, you know, getting back to the Midwest of the United States and the Great Plains. It's convenient.
Mm-hmm.
It's really convenient. And also, there are fossils forming right now. Do you notice? Have you ever heard of a subfossil, Bent?
No, I haven't.
No? Well,
Not me.
subfossil is basically the remains of an organism that are currently undergoing some process that would result in a fossil that could be preserved for a long period of time, like a geologically long period of time.
Okay.
But that process hasn't finished, and now humans have found it. That's a thing. Subfossils are a real thing, so fossils are forming today. Otherwise, we wouldn't need a word for when we find them currently forming.
So fossils only form if an animal is buried.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's interesting, and Ken's wrong.
Yes.
Pretty deeply and pretty quickly before it has time to decay. Marvin Lubenow says about 4,000 sets of human remains have been found. I think there are fewer humans than animals found fossilized because they were smarter and would avoid drowning till later in the flood.
Or it could just be that, humans are one species, or if we're broad with it, they're one genus. Whereas animals, all animals, is a pretty broad category. Maybe that's part of the explanation. But the other thing is, there are plenty of fossil humans found. You just have to look in the right place. And that place is not the Middle East, where all the stories of the Bible are set. Which is another reason why they can't be literally 100% history that actually factually happened as described. But, hey, that's just me.
Therefore, they're not going to be fossilized. We cover more on that in video 7. The trees that are uprooted would float around in big log mats the size of Texas. They're going to be buried and become the coal seams that we see today.
So then, why is it that when you find all these fossilized trees, you don't actually find trees, you find things like lycopods, which actually aren't related very closely to any modern trees? Where are the oaks, Kent? Where are the fir trees, or the beech trees, or the birches, or any of these things? Where are the maple trees? Why aren't they in coal seams? Why are there only these weird ancient things that have scales that scale-like things? They have little diamond-shaped things that look like scales that we've never seen before. Whatever. Don't worry about it, right?
Water does some very interesting phenomena. As water is moving, it automatically sorts things. It can form 5 or 6 layers simultaneously.
He's right about that. I'm going to drink for it. And actually, that means that I need to grab myself another drink real quick. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have our second occurrence of the ever-amazing transitional slideshow. All right, we are back after that wonderful musical interlude. I have a fresh drink, so here we go. I tried to click the button. The button didn't work.
There's a good videotape called Experiments in Stratification that shows the top strata can actually be older than the bottom strata.
That's not what you're showing. Okay, I want to watch this animation again. So give me. I'm gonna rewind just a little bit. Give me a second.
Experiments in stratification.
Now watch what happens, right? Because they're gonna add bits of each additional layer on top as they go.
That shows the top strata can actually.
Okay, so what you should probably notice is that every time that you see new layers being added here, they're always going on top of previously deposited lower layers. So if you cut down through any vertical section, you're always going to get the youngest on top. Now, if you start cutting horizontally, you can get weird situations, and that's actually a well-known phenomenon where there is some amount of non-vertical deposition, and it's actually well studied by geologists. In fact, some of the Cambrian strata near where we live, Bent, were not always laid down in a completely vertical fashion because many of them represent shorelines where there can be diagonal deposition occurring. Yeah, you've actually seen some of these strata when we went to the Grand Canyon together.
I've been to the Grand Canyon before. It's large.
It is. I think that's why they call it that.
You might even call it grand.
Yeah, it's a pretty Grand Canyon. But so the other thing is that what he's talking about is this situation in which if you have the right sort of flow in a strongly, a strong current or a sort of surging and ebbing and surging flood, you can get these units of gradient bedding where one unit is laid down and then another one on top of it and another one on top of it. But one of the things he's missing, though, is as you can see in this, where like each layer has a little heat map, right? And it goes from this like bright, warm yellow color down to like a cool blue, then a black on top. That's because this is graded bedding, where you have the largest and densest particles at the bottom, followed by successively lighter and smaller particles going up. And then it gets repeated again after a period of calm, and then you get another layer of graded bedding. But that's not what we see in the geological column, where we get things like a layer of, like he said, diatomaceous earth, then a layer of limestone, then shale, and then we'll have a layer of, wind-borne sand deposits, followed by more marine sediments. So none of this actually matches what we're seeing. But he's also not technically wrong that you can have weird depositional environments like this.
It'd be older than the bottom strata. If the water's moving, it forms multiple layers simultaneously. Moving water does some strange things. How many have ever seen those things you buy at the store with two pieces of glass and different colored sand in between, and when you flip it over, it forms...
I've seen it, Kent, because you show it off on like every single one of your videos. Although I don't actually know that I've seen one in real life, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. They obviously do. He didn't invent it, unless he did, which seems unlikely.
all these layers.
Yeah.
Maybe he invented it. He might have.
Maybe.
Real quickly, okay? It doesn't take a long time. Stratification can happen very quickly.
Yeah, it can, Kent, but again, you're using an artificially constrained environment that doesn't actually closely mimic any natural environment involving sedimentation, and one which was specifically designed by humans to not mimic the natural world because they want it to come out in pretty patterns. Like, it's like looking at a painting of a rock and being like, oh, look, see, rocks can't form through natural processes. Only God can make rocks by miracles instantaneously, because this rock that I'm looking at now in this painting was made by a human who painted it. Like it's a complete disanalogy. There really isn't a good link. You know what? It's stupid enough. I'm going to drink for it. Also, it's warm in here, so I'm going to drink for it. Delicious.
Underwater landslides, like the one we saw in Indonesia in 2004, can cause, it's called a turbidity current. They can do enormous damage underwater, causing tsunamis on the surface, which kill 250,000 people. In 1929, there was an underwater landslide that traveled 70 miles an hour, cut 2 transatlantic cables. That one landslide covered 40,000 square miles. That's about the size of Ohio. One landslide underwater. During the flood, the water would be swirling around, and the dead animals would tend to, get caught in these little swirls called eddies. This happens today. If you walk along the river, you see the river moving one direction, but along the sides, there's little eddies swirling water.
Okay, so we know the kinds of sediment that get formed when there's turbulent water, and like I said, it's graded bedding. Like I'm gonna get a picture up of graded bedding, just so we know what I'm talking about here. Because, geology is a weird thing. I should have had Colton on. Which, by the way, at some point, I'm going to have Colton on for something and link to his channel, because he just started a YouTube channel after basically a whole bunch of people, myself somewhat included, basically harassed him on Twitter to get a YouTube channel. So, I'm not taking much credit for that, but I'm taking a little credit for that. All right, so... yeah, that's what I said. I'm taking a little credit for that. So I'm currently pulling up a picture of some graded bedding. So, tab. Sorry, my computer's being a little slow because I'm having to do other things in the background besides kind of with pen. I know, crazy, right? Okay, so here we have graded bedding, and you can see that at the bottom here, so we actually have a couple layers. So we have at the very bottom a layer that is probably not graded, but then immediately we start with these large stones, right? This in this conglomeration. And then as you go up, you'll notice the average size of the stone starts to drop down until they become indistinguishable from just the sediments that form up the rock anyway. Now that's because when water is turbulent, small particles, as well as particles that are less dense, are more likely to be swept away by the water because they have a lower mass, obviously, and so they are more reactive to the forces applied to them by the water. Whereas larger mass, larger size particles are more resistant to being moved by the water. So they tend to have gravity predominate faster. That's the kind of thing that happens in very turbulent waters. To get fine-grained shale that we see all over the world, you can't have turbulent waters because it won't be deposited. It will just say suspended in the water column while bigger particles are deposited. Like this isn't like rocket science. This isn't brain surgery. This is just like the basics of, have you ever been in a pool and had dirt get in it? And then notice what happens to the dirt? Yeah. Like, it's dumb enough. I'm going to drink again for it. And Kent. This is one of his most amusing seminars, though. I will honestly say I am having fun with this. Yeah.
It just took him forever to get to it, but once he did.
Right. And actually, I'm not even sure what his 7th seminar is. It might not even be interesting. We might have to get something other than his seminars to look at. But that's okay. Yeah. We'll cross that road when we get to it.
This would happen on a global scale during the flood of Noah. As the animals would float around for a few weeks, they would rot, and their head falls off, and tail falls off, and legs fall off. And when they finally get buried, you end up with tangled up messes of dinosaur bones.
Okay, well, first, that's not tangled up. That's a spine with very intact neural processes and centra. Further, no, I'm gonna drink before I say it because I'm gonna lose it. But do you know what I'm gonna say next?
No.
It's that's not a dinosaur skeleton. You know what that is, Bent?
No.
That is a whale skeleton. In fact, I know which part of a whale skeleton. That guy right there is working on the sacral vertebrae, and then up and to the left, you'll have caudal vertebrae of a whale. It's really not that hard to identify a whale skeleton as such, and that's what's going on here. Those are whale vertebrae. Like, I'm not exactly like, like a whale scientist like the lady from Star Trek 4. Nerd alert, right? Look, if you've been on my channel... She wasn't
just a whale scientist. She was a hot whale scientist.
Oh, and the mom from Seventh Heaven. Although I think she was the whale scientist first. So wait, did she go back in time again to go be the mom in Seventh Heaven? Because she ended up in the 23rd century.
I think she must have gone back.
Okay, alright. Anyway, yeah, that's a whale, not a dinosaur. But hey, it actually probably would have even sounded better if he had acknowledged that it was a whale, but whatever. Yeah, whale. Why is everyone saying whale, question mark? It's a whale.
Notice these backbones here have no head attached, no legs, just the backbone.
I mean, they clearly extend out of screen, Kent. And none of these are cervical vertebrae, and there is a tail attached. It's in the top left. I don't... Is Kent unaware that you can... Yeah, okay. Apparently Kent is unaware of the idea that photos can be cropped. Like, hey, look, Bent, that guy has no right elbow.
Oh, crap.
And he has no right leg. And no right shoulder.
How is he holding that little tiny Thor hammer?
Oh, God must have done it.
God's holding the Thor
It was a miracle just for this photo, because nothing extends beyond the borders of a photo. Cropping doesn't exist. The limit of your frame doesn't exist. None of that's a thing.
Underwater landslides do enormous damage, and surface animals buried on the surface under mud can be entangled up messes. Fossil graveyards are very common all over the planet.
Yep. Okay, it's true, but they usually have an associated and very obvious cause. Like in North America, there are several fossil graveyards embedded in formed in volcanic ash. So, was the flood a volcano? No, it wasn't. It was a flood. And then there's another thing: is what he just showed us was a bunch of hard shells, hard calcified, like bivalve and brachiopod and crinoid shells. Yeah, those are the kinds of things that don't rot very fast. That's why coral reefs, like, you know, that whole structure of a coral reef, only the top parts are actually alive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's little coral polyps that are actually filter feeding, right? But that's feet upon feet of just coral skeleton from dead corals from generations past. Yeah, hard calcified things don't just rot immediately. And so if you're in a depositional environment where, you know, things are being covered at a relatively decent pace, yeah, it's not surprising that you'll find a graveyard of all the shells that are dying out there.
They found a concentration of fossils like logs in a log jam. If you go to San Jacinto Monument in Texas, where Santa Ana finally met his...
Is San Jacinto, is that a thing? Isn't it San Jacinto?
I can't hear him.
Oh, you can't hear him at all?
No, I think it bugged out for a bit.
We'll have to share screen again. All right. Give me a second.
I can't.
All right, we'll see if this works. Okay, this actually happened a lot with my Eric with Erica, where it was just like, nope, can't hear.
Yeah, it happened a lot.
Yeah. All right, let's see if you can hear him.
Met his match when the Texans caught up with him. The whole monument is made out of...
Nope.
Well, that's a problem. All right. Maybe I just forgot to hit share sound. Is that a thing that could happen?
Maybe. Otherwise, I'm hanging up and calling back.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, here we go.
Fossils. I mean, you look at the blocks of rock, it looks like great big blocks of stone, and...
All right. Ben's gonna call me back. Man. Is it Jacinto? I mean, like, I don't really know. Bent, you're back. I can hear you. All right. Let me know if you can hear this.
Logs in a log jam.
Yep.
All right.
If you go to San Jacinto Monument in Texas, where Santa Ana finally met his match when the Texans caught up with him. The whole monument is made out of...
Yes.
Fossils. I mean, you look at the blocks of rock...
Oh, man,
hey, to be fair, I didn't get it right the first time either, because I couldn't remember how it was spelled, but I knew that it wasn't Jacinto.
Uncle Kent, what on earth?
By the way,
it's water covering the earth.
It's no relation, right? No relation?
No relation.
Okay.
Well, he thinks we're not related, but we are.
Oh.
Because
Oh, hey.
and a tree are related.
We're $173 away from the next tutu video.
Yeah, and then I'm in tutu.
So if everyone super chats just a bit under $1, or no, a bit under $10.
Everyone just donate as much money as you have.
No.
Or less.
No, yes, much less. Nestle 20, hey, whatever, absolutely do not give me all of your money. That is just a terrible idea. I am not here to steal all your money.
That's Kent Hovind. I agree with that statement. I say give him as much money as you choose to give.
Yes, that I'll agree with. But yeah, do not give me all of your money.
If you choose to give all your money, hey, I'm not getting any of it.
No, I don't want you to do that. Do not give people on YouTube money you can't afford to give them.
I could see why you would say that.
Yeah, because I don't want my viewers to have terrible lives just because of me.
Is it really a terrible life, though? They get to watch it on YouTube.
No, they don't, because now they can't pay their bills.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, okay.
It looks like great big blocks of stone, and they are. As you get up closer, there are bazillions of little tiny fossils in them. There's 4 animals that are found fossilized in the
Donate
swimming
everything
position.
You have, add more.
Oh, they're bent. Look, they're preserved in the swimming position. I mean, that's whenever an animal swims, it always folds its legs up under itself like that, and then doesn't have any method to propel itself. That's how you swim. You just
That's why I drown every time I swim.
Yeah, you just curl up into the fetal position, and then you swim.
That's how I sleep. It's not how I swim.
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna drink for that because that's stupid.
I ran out of drink, but I also got a ginger ale kombucha.
Nice.
That's 2 kombuchas.
Oh man, you're gonna have so much fermented tea in you. I don't have a follow up. Let's keep going.
Head held up high out of the water. I believe they probably got caught in the mud as the mud settled out of the water, and they drowned or died in the swimming position. In one place in Africa called the Karoo Formation, they said there are 800,000 million skeletons of vertebrate animals. A lot of animals died at one time.
Yeah.
They found iguanodon skeletons in a Belgian coal mine extending through 100 feet of rock in the vertical position.
Drink.
Up in Canada on Axel Island, they find petrified redwood stumps.
Drink.
You can go to Axel Island. There are no trees on Axel Island. There are certainly no redwood trees growing there.
Yeah, anymore. You know where else there aren't any trees is Easter Island. You know what they used to have all over Easter Island? Trees. Like, presently no trees doesn't mean never were any trees, but sure.
How do we get fossilized redwood stumps on Axel Island?
Because there used to be...
People say, well, hey, wouldn't it take...
What?
Sorry.
Oh, because there used to be redwood trees.
I was just brainwashed from when Kent and I were bashing the
Nestle 20 wants to know if the Oreo Don'ts ate Oreos. I hope so. You know what? I could do with an Oreo right now. I wouldn't mind an Oreo. I'm not normally one for the sweets. Like, I don't like cake. And drink from Mothra. And, did we lose Bent again? Bent, you're breaking up. Are you there? Hello, Bent.
I'm here.
Okay, you broke up for a little bit there.
Yeah, I think what happened was the internet heard you say, I don't like cake, and before you could finish cake, it was like, nope, not having that.
I know. Yeah, like, I basically, I put sugar in my tea, and that's about the only use I have for sugar. Really.
I put sugar in my mouth, and that's the only use I have. In various forms.
Millions of years for things to petrify? No, things petrify quickly. There are scores of examples can be given where things have petrified in less than 100 years.
Yeah,
okay? 2 horse hoofs were found petrified in...
Are you kidding me?
I wish I were.
I'm sorry for technical difficulties. I'm blaming the beer virus. You guys don't know what that is about? It's a thing. Sorry, let's go to Skype.
I'm blaming you and your cake comment because that's...
I mean, that's fair. All right. I'm going to try one more time, and then we're just going to have Bent hang up again, I guess. Oh, drink from Mothra, though.
I heard Mothra.
All right. Let's see if Bent can hear this, though.
Oregon. A petrified water wheel shown here in this picture.
Can you hear any of this?
Just the minerals replaced the wood. Here's petrified firewood.
Oh, my goodness. Like the worst ever Kent with Bent.
Hi.
Bent, you're back. Welcome to the back.
Different.
What's different?
Like bye-bye is going away and hi-hi is coming back.
Oh, is that how that works?
How I say it works.
Okay. Well, let's okay, I should be sharing. Do you see what I'm seeing?
I see it.
Okay, let's see if you can hear it.
Wood?
Yes,
There's
I hear
a fishing reel stuck
Hooray!
in a rock. It said the rock was 300 million years old. By the way, if any of you students want...
Okay, hold on. I just missed that one.
A petrified water wheel shown here in this picture. Just the minerals replaced the wood. Here's petrified firewood. Here's a...
How do I know that that's petrified firewood? It looks like burnt firewood.
You calling Kent a liar?
Yeah. Oh, drink for Godzilla.
Fishing reel stuck in a rock. It said the rock was 300 million years old. By the way, if any of you students want to make some money, University Chattanooga...
Wait, who said the rock was 300 million years old?
They say.
See, that's one of the things about all these out-of-place artifact claims that you get, because that's what these are called. They're like, oh, they found a thing in a thing. It's like, there's never any provenance given. There's never any, like documentation of where it was found. And rarely are they ever even tested to see where they were found. And that's the thing with every single time. You don't have any provenance. And if you don't have provenance, then you might as well just toss it away. Like, if you found the most pristine ever fossil that you could think of, like absolutely perfect, a complete standing up Tyrannosaurus with every single bone intact, you excavate it carefully and preserve everything, but then you forget where you found it. You know what your dinosaur skeleton is worth?
0.
Exactly. It is worth literally nothing. So yeah, that's the problem with all of these.
Tennessee, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, studied this thing, talked to the guy who owned it, and analyzed the whole thing and said, man, this is amazing, a reel stuck in a rock. If you can locate the owner of the reel and get me in touch with him, I want to see if he wants to put it on loan in our museum. And anybody who can find me, the owner, Dan Jones, find me the guy, get me his phone number, and let me talk to him. I'll give you $50 for do some research.
So wait, this claim is so poorly cited that so poorly cited that not even Kent Hovind can find the originator of the claim.
I'm going to look up Dan Jones and see if I can find him.
I feel like there's going to be a bunch of Dan Joneses out there, but maybe not.
Oh, Dan Jones Rock.
Search if there's sleuths up here in Tennessee you want to work on that one.
That'll work.
UTC geology experts can't explain this.
You know what?
How could a fishing reel
The
be
reel
found
in a rock, the Museum of Hoaxes.
Oh,
Keep
the
playing the
Museum
video
of
while I read
Hoaxes.
briefly about
Well,
this.
first we have a $2. Well, first we got Godzilla, drinking for Godzilla. But we also have a $2 super chat from Adam Morgan that says provenance. And yes, that is what you need. You need provenance. Provenance is how you know where things were found. And there's also a chain of provenance as things change owners. So for example, if it's an archaeological find and you can sell certain artifacts, right? The chain of provenance will go all the way back to the original discoverer, and it will trace who bought it, where, when, for how much, all that stuff. But Bent, you said that you have something pulled up about this being a hoax, huh?
Yeah, they just like drilled holes in the rock, it looks like.
Oh, so it wasn't. Oh, gee, there's a surprise.
I mean, it's probably true, but it's just someone wrote that on the internet. Like, it's not actually well supported from what I'm reading that it is a hoax, but that seems more likely than it's
that it being a
whatever
300
Ken's
million.
trying to argue.
Yeah,
I don't know what Ken's trying to argue.
that some artifact without provenance might be a thing. Yeah.
If you go to Waycross, Georgia, they've got on display there at the Southern Forest World a mummified dog stuck in a tree.
I thought fossils didn't form anymore, Kent. Which is it? You gotta pick one. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna drink for that because it's so contradictory to what he's already said. Like, I do not understand how he thinks that this is helping his position.
The dog apparently chased a coon up the tree and got stuck, and the dog is mummified.
Okay.
The tree was still alive. They named the dog Stucky. Here's a petrified cowboy boot with the cowboy's legs still in it.
That's still the dog. That's still the dog.
Articles on
there
the
it
table
is.
down there.
So actually, I've looked into this one. It's not petrified. It was infilled with mud. What you're looking at is dried mud and bone. The leather is still soft and pliable, although it's become a little bit brittle. So, yeah, nothing about that is petrified. It's just not. You're just looking at some bone and dried mud on a boot. Okay, some dude lost his foot in some water. I mean, like, okay.
They're called the limestone cowboy.
Except it's not made
Here's
of
a
limestone.
petrified fish giving birth.
Well, we've already dealt with this one before, but not a damn fish, Kent. It's never been a fish. It's always been an ichthyosaur. It's no more a fish than you are. In fact, it's more closely related to you than it is to any fish out there. And yes, it is in the process of giving birth, or at least expelling a young ichthyosaur with which it was pregnant. it is possible that it died and then later buildup of gases inside the ichthyosaur pushed the embryo out partially. Also a possibility, hard to say.
Here's a petrified hammer found in Hawaii.
Wait, so he's just going to say, here's a thing that's fossilized? Is this ichthyosaur? He's going to just misidentify an ichthyosaur and then like, oh, there you go.
Yep, that's it.
All right, cool. And a petrified hammer. It doesn't look particularly petrified. What evidence do you have that it's petrified, Kent? Oh, it's a letter. It says, Dear Dr. Hovind. Okay, yeah, great.
Why did they accidentally call him doctor when he's not a doctor?
That's a good question. But I love that it's... The damn... No, I'm going to drink for it. It's literally just a letter that some dude wrote him and had a picture attached and says, hey, this hammer turned to stone, Kent. And Kent was like, well, that sounds cool. It's like when that truck driver was on Kent's channel a few months ago saying, I saw a pteranodon in Texas while I was driving. And it's like, did ya? It's like, yeah, there was a lot of traffic too. It's like, and you're the only one who saw the pteranodon? I don't know. Maybe some other people found it, but I don't know. It's like, this didn't go on the news anywhere, or like this wasn't a thing. It's like, I don't know. I was just driving my truck in Texas and I saw a pteranodon. Like, oh, okay, sure. And Kent just swallows it, hook, line, and sinker. He's like, oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, this random truck driver who showed up at Dinosaur Adventureland, he totally saw a pteranodon in like June of 2019 on a crowded road in like Houston or something. Makes sense.
A petrified hat found in New Zealand.
That's not petrified. That's covered in a bit of a calcium concretion on top of it. But okay.
Petrified crayon found in Arizona. Petrified...
This is literally just another letter. And it looks like it was written by like an 8-year-old.
I bet Kent wrote that letter, actually. He just took the paper off the crayon and just put it there.
And I love how we just doxed Randall here. Like, I'm sorry, Randall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and...
Well, that's what Kent likes doing.
He doesn't actually live all that far from us.
That's the same area code that I live in.
Oh, you just doxed yourself.
I mean, my phone number is a different area code, though. Because it's a cell phone. I don't care. It's the area code I live in.
But
I don't care.
Here's the other thing. How do we know this is a fossilized crayon? It's just a black, round tube. Like, did you... Apparently, Randall here sent it to you, Kent. Did you get it tested? Did you publish your findings anywhere? Do we have anything other than your word and some letter by an 8-year-old that this is actually what you say it is? Where was it found?
In Sanders, Arizona. It's in the letter.
And
that's where it was found.
TD Lane says, somebody send me wine. I need wine. Man, that's why every time we have these, I pre-stock up on some kind of liquor. In fact, what I do is I put 4 tall tumblers in my freezer with 3 ice cubes in each and about 4 fingers of vodka or whiskey or whatever it is I'm mixing each. And they're just staged so I can pour a mixer in, stir it, and go. You got to prepare for these things.
Pincushion found in Wisconsin. A guy got found along the beach in Montana.
You're just going to say there was a pincushion? You're not even going to show the picture? Okay, sure. And here's a mummy.
Someone just sent him a letter saying that it existed. And he's like, yeah, good enough for my seminar number 6.
Honestly, I kind of want to call Kent from like a different phone number and tell him some crazy story about seeing like a Tyrannosaurus Rex or something. Or make it even crazier, like say, oh, I was out in Pennsylvania and I saw myself a Majungasaurus. Because, you know, Majungasaurus is from Madagascar. So, like, he won't even know.
Just make something up that's not even a real word.
Oh, well, I would go for a real thing. And then, like, see if he'll, like, put the story on, like, one of his live streams or something. We had a brother call in from Pennsylvania, and he said he saw a Majungasaurus. Well, I didn't know what a Majungasaurus... No, what would he say? He said, well, obviously, I know Majungasaurus is this guy, because he would just have Googled it. And he says, he saw this guy in Pennsylvania just last week. It was stomping around the town center. I guess the evil Satanist scientists are covering it up. Like, Kent is the most credulous person when it comes to anything that might even possibly back up his ideas. I just don't get it. As someone who is skeptical even of things that I want to be true, Like, Ben, do you remember when there was an announcement made that they may have found a new record holder for smallest known dinosaur?
I remember you talking about it a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like it seems maybe it's just a lizard.
Oh.
I know.
So it's still the hummingbird then?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's still the bee hummingbird. It's the smallest known dinosaur to have ever existed. Well,
that we know of.
The oldest confirmed dinosaur that we know of to have ever existed. So Oculodentavis may in fact be a lizard. And I actually personally think it probably is a lizard. But you know how much I would like for it to be the smallest ever dinosaur?
A lot.
Yeah. You know what that doesn't make
You
me
were
believe?
way too excited
I know.
when you were telling me about it. And I was like, dude, who cares?
Yeah, but you know what? Now that I've looked at it and looked into the criticisms, despite how much I would like it to be the smallest ever dinosaur, you know what my current position is? Probably a lizard.
Yeah.
And that kind of sucks. But that's what you call intellectual honesty. You don't just take things that sound cool and just believe them. You actually look into it, and when the evidence doesn't suit your favorite conclusion, you reject your favorite conclusion. Or at least you put it on hold and remain agnostic about it. But let's keep going about this mummy.
Petrified man. Here's a story about a petrified man.
Petrified man? How do we know he's petrified? He doesn't look petrified.
Kent likes to use a lot.
And another meager chronicle doesn't sound like the most reliable of peer-reviewed journals. Okay, sure.
In Gainesboro, Tennessee, the guy died in 1881. They buried him. 14 years later, they were going to bury his wife next to him when she died. They dug a hole for Grandma's grave, and water seeped into the hole, into the grave. They said, oh, we don't want to bury Grandma in the water, so they buried Grandma someplace else. Then the kids got worried about Grandpa buried in the water. So they dug up the grave. The body inside had turned to stone, except the arms had rotted off. The rest of the body had petrified.
According to some newspaper from the 1800s, the same kinds of newspaper that reported that cowboys had shot a dragon. Like, honestly, newspapers from the 1800s, especially out west, were basically just like the Weekly World News. They're completely worthless. I say this as someone with a degree in history. You just cannot trust these newspapers. They make shit up to sell papers. That's it.
In 14 years, in a coffin in Tennessee. The man found in Fort Benton, Montana, was in 1897.
Robert Adsit says, is he using Ripley's as a primary source? Basically. Basically. Except Ripley's is actually better sourced than most of these newspapers. You know what? That was funny enough. I'm going to drink for that. Good job.
Drink.
Oh, man. Yeah, and TD Lane says, in water concretion, it's that simple. And it really is. Most of these examples of quote-unquote petrified things haven't actually been permineralized. They just have concretions built up around them because of hard water, which is not the same process that we get in permineralization. Guys, if you had heard me recording audio today, oh man, someday I should just save raw audio files for a video and put them up so you can hear just how much I screw it up and how much I have to fix it. Like,
Put some yakety sax behind it.
Seriously, there was this one sentence I had to say like 8 times in a row, and I just kept screwing it up every time. All right, let's keep going though.
Found by Tom Dunbar. The guy was 5'8". Many medical doctors examined it, said, man, this is a petrified, complete human. Not the bones, the complete person, petrified.
Okay, so the entire person was a rock?
Yes, except for the lower right leg because it's not there. But besides that.
Okay, so Montana campfire tales. There's another super campfire tales. Like that doesn't. It's just a name that inspires confidence because any tale that's ever been told around a campfire is 100% true. Like, does he know that people purposefully sit around campfires to make up stories?
I bet it's just like a fictional.
All right, please
kids
do
magazine
because this is amazing, and I have to drink again because it was in something called Montana Campfire Tales. Oh my god!
The book by Dave Walter, 14 historical narratives.
Oh, ooh,
yeah. No one knows more about Montana's history than Dave Walters, staff historian for the Montana Historical Society, and no one can tell the state stories with more eloquence, humor, and accuracy. Gather around the campfire as Walter revisits the tragic Baker Massacre, recounts Truman Everett's harrowing ordeal in Yellowstone, and more.
But is there a source on this actual petrified human?
I didn't buy the book.
Oh.
I guess he's pretending like it's legit.
Well, and then
description here.
Bernbert asks us the question, what if someone just buried a statue? Which actually, if you completely petrified everything in a human, how would you distinguish it from a statue, really? So, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to keep going, though.
A lady in Sao Paulo, Brazil, was 62 years old. She went to the doctor and said, I got a pain in my side. They x-rayed her and found a petrified skeleton of a baby inside. She was pregnant and didn't know it. The baby had died and turned to stone inside the woman's body.
What? How? How was that physically? I want Kent to describe the taphonomic process of petrification of a fetus inside of a human body. And I want you to notice, look what his source for this is. It's a woman's phone number. So basically he's saying, here's this anecdote. If you don't believe that this is a real anecdote, call the woman herself and get the anecdote. That's not how. Oh my God, I'm gonna drink again. I'm going through this drink like 4 times as fast.
We're gonna have to start calling these numbers.
Oh my goodness. No, I don't want to. Like, what if that's actually still her number? I don't want to harass some Maria.
Then ask her. That's the point. Call to ask.
Or no, her niece Claudia Francis. Ne do Nascimento Pedrino. Yeah, like. Oh, she just met him one day and told him a story. Okay, sure, Kent. That's great.
It does appear the baby was about to be born, the doctor said that examined her. I talked to a guy from Maryland. He said, yeah, I drove the ambulance. We took a woman to the hospital one time in Snowden, Washington. There's his phone number there if you want to talk to
Hey, I've been in Snowden, Washington.
Brian. He said she was taken to the hospital and they removed a petrified fetus from this woman.
This one, he doesn't even give a phone number. He just says, I met Brian, some dude named Brian, on June 25th, 2002, in Hood River, Oregon.
Let me look up Brian and see if I can find Brian.
See if you can find Brian in Hood River, Oregon.
I found Brian. Brian is a male given name of Irish in Breton, Oregon. Wait.
It's just some dude
I guess
named
there's more than one.
Some dude named Brian told me a story. Yeah, you know what? I have to drink again. This is crazy.
Let me read about this real quick.
Oh, it's Brian Lackey of Snowden.
Lithopedion.
Ooh.
Lithopedion or a stone baby, is a rare phenomenon which occurs most commonly when a fetus dies during an abdominal pregnancy. It is too large to be reabsorbed by the body and calcifies on the outside as part of a foreign body reaction, shielding the mother's body from the dead tissue of the fetus and preventing infection.
So it just has bone deposited around it, basically.
Calcified, not petrified.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, maybe these are true. But also, they're not exactly well sourced. But also, is Kent Hovind saying that these are examples of the petrification process that results in permineralized fossils? Like, are these dinosaurs dying inside of people's bodies and then being calcified? I mean, these must have been some ridiculous, gigantic people. And why were they shoving dinosaurs inside them? I mean, I guess that's what you're into, right? There were some really weird pre-flood fetishes, man.
I can't say anything. I can just drink.
I'll drink too.
Turned to stone in her body. Here are petrified sacks of flour found in Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Calcified stacks of flour, but okay.
Here's a petrified pickle found in Montana. This is in my museum.
We've already gone over this on another Kent with Bent, but like, it's just a piece of rock in a jar, Kent. What about that says pickle to you?
It's shaped kind
Is
of like
it-
a pickle.
Yeah, it's sort of shaped like a pickle, and it's in a mason jar. I bet that's what it is. It's in a mason jar. So people think of pickles as being in mason jars. That's the strongest connection this thing has to a pickle, is that you stored it in a mason jar.
It was found in this jar.
It was
Guy
found in
sent
the
it to
jar.
me. He said, Brother Hovind, I found a petrified pickle inside a jar. The lid rusted off. Would you want it for your museum?
So you found a bit of rock that doesn't look like a pickle in a jar, and you just assumed it was a petrified pickle. Where did the minerals come from? That's one of the things that I don't get. Like, does he think that minerals just spontaneously form out of nothing and just infuse into a pickle in a jar?
Microscopic pickles in the air.
Microscopic pickles in the air?
I mean, minerals in the air.
No, I kind of like the microscopic pickles better.
You know what? There's little tiny pickles you can't see floating around next to the minerals, and then they all combine together and form a really big pickle out of mineral rock.
That sounds amazing.
I said, of
not
course, who
even
in their
drunk.
right mind would not want a petrified pickle for their museum? There's a petrified toadstool just south of Bloomington, Illinois, in an amazing museum called the Funk Gem and Mineral Museum in
I mean, is it a toadstool? It kind of looks like a toadstool, but I'm sorry, but Funk Gem and Mineral Museum, like, can't the proper citation? Like, okay, look, this is for everyone here, not just Kent, because I don't think Kent's ever gonna watch this, or if he does, it'll be far in the future when I have more subscribers or something. If I ever get more subscribers, I don't know. I've been fluctuating around 2,990 for days. It's frustrating because I want to hit 3,000. Anyway. Enough of that. But the thing is, a proper citation is you put the name of a paper that was published in a peer-reviewed journal, and then you put the name of the authors, where it was published, and the publication date. That's a proper source. All of this crap like, oh, some museum somewhere maybe, not a source. Literally all of this means nothing because you haven't sourced any of it properly, Kent. If you were submitting this, like, this is a guy who claims to have a PhD. If someone in high school submitted this, it would get an F. If you submitted this in college, people would start asking questions as to whether or not you should actually be in college, because maybe, just maybe, a job that's more your speed is Walmart greeter. Nothing against Walmart greeters, but it's not the most intellectually demanding job.
Shirley, Illinois. If you ever drive out there, stop and see that place. This kid in the picture here sent me these petrified acorns. He's 7 years old. He said, Brother Hovind, I put these...
Again, it's just some kid. Why is some kid like a third of your references, Kent?
I put the acorns in a bucket of water.
Kid.
Yeah, I'm gonna drink again, because, oh my god. I do not get it. This is insane. And Burnbird says, you deserve 3,000 heart. Thank you. I like to think I do. Actually, you know what? Hey, you never know. Maybe I'm there. Let's double check, right?
Oh, I've been refreshing a lot.
Oh, have you? Let's see where I'm actually at. Let's see where I'm actually at. YouTube Studio. Here we go. We're gonna find out right now. Right now. 2,992. I need 8 more. So hey, everybody, send this to your 8 closest friends.
I think 8 of you should unsub, and then 16 of those 8 should resub.
That's not how math works.
Addition by subtraction.
Yeah.
They would sprout, and I forgot about them. A year later, when Mama found them on the back porch, they had turned to stone in a bucket of water.
So, okay, I want to get this right. So, kid puts acorns in bucket of water, leaves it for a year. His mom comes back, and she finds acorns that have petrified. In the intervening years, where'd the minerals come from, Kent? Like, was the bucket made of rock? I do not get it. Can we send Kent our liquor bill? No, rodent loan last name. I encourage you to send Kent your liquor bill and attempt to get money from him for all his liquor. I mean, and if it works, let me know. because I will send Kent all sorts of bills. Because I'm going to go ahead and guess that when I have my first heart attack, it's going to be because of Ken Hovind.
I'm never going to have a heart attack. I refuse.
I mean, it's like the #1 leading cause of death among males, so you probably will.
I'll pick a different cause of death.
Okay, well, good luck with the car crash or whatever. Although, actually, I believe right now the beer virus is the leading cause of death in the United States, which is...
Depressing.
Yeah, it's a little depressing. It actually is pretty depressing. I've actually been having a hard time relaxing and all. But whatever, this is actually helping. So that's good.
Petrified acorns. Here's petrified peanut cluster in the Ripley's Museum in Florida.
Wait, like Ripley's Believe It or Not? So, I don't remember who said it, but someone said, is his source Ripley's Believe It or Not? Yes, apparently. Yes.
Here are petrified charcoal briquettes. We've got them in our museum. Come down to Pensacola and see the...
Charcoal is already lithified. I don't... What? Okay, sure, Kent.
Petrified charcoal briquettes. Here's what appears to be a petrified coconut.
Oh, it appears to be. Is it? I don't know. It's just a rock. Oh my... I know I have to drink again. I don't even... I can't. This is absolutely amazing. This is the craziest thing.
The whole thing. It's in our museum in Pensacola. Here's the fossilized arm to an octopus I referred to earlier.
What? What about that makes you think octopus?
I right here where it says the word octopus, because I didn't even know what I was trying to look for. Like nothing there looks like an octopus arm.
It's just a long bit of rock. Oh, I'm gonna have to drink for every single one of these, aren't I?
That's your choice.
This is amazing. Okay, Ken, sure, it's an octopus arm.
This is a replica of it.
Oh, it's not even the original. It's just a replica. Oh my. This is the most I have ever laughed in Kent with Bet. This is amazing.
I quit. I can't do it anymore.
No, you have to do it for at least like 10 more, or 8. Give me 6 more minutes.
My brain broke.
6 minutes.
Petrified octopus arm. There's an article in Handy Farm Devices, published 1909, on how to make petrified wood. For centuries, people have known how to make petrified wood so it'll last longer.
Oh, hey, look, more calcium concretions on a teddy bear. Hooray!
Oh, look, petrified in quotation marks. Awesome.
Wait, is petrified actually in quotation marks?
Look at the sign. It's right there on the sign. You can't see my mouse cursor.
Oh, it is. It says petrified in quotation. Oh my goodness. That is classic.
Petrified.
Monk Mayfair says, yes, you are going to have to drink for everyone. Don't shirk your drinks. Well, in that case, I haven't drank for the petrified teddy bear, so... There we go.
I mean, aren't the fossils of similar animals found in the same layers? Doesn't that prove, evolution? Because reptiles are found in the same layer.
Well, by itself, no, but biogeography is an important line of evidence for evolution. So that's one of the things that I hate about Kent is he's like got this all or nothing mindset. It's like it either proves evolution 100% or it means nothing. Like that's not how science works.
Well, if there's any sorting of the fossils, it's not proof of evolution, that's for sure.
Okay.
Actually, the textbooks teach...
Well, you know what? He's actually moving on to a different claim. So I think we're coming up towards the end of this. So I think we'll just call it to save Beethoven's sanity, as well as to have, we've definitely got at least a full other episode after this worth of this seminar. So let's see. Channel news tomorrow, or not tomorrow, I'm sorry. Thursday should be the video, which is the next update on the Speculative Evolution Project. It will detail 9 creatures that have been submitted and that have been finished and put up on the World Anvil so far. Then Saturday will be a collaboration between myself and Gutsig Gibbon talking about how our request for a debate with quote-unquote Dr. Kent Hovind went, as well as announcing when and where we are going to be doing the watch party for Kent Hovind's Greatest Debate Failures, which should be that Sunday. So stay tuned for that this week, Sunday. Our plan right now, I believe, is to start at 10 a.m. Eastern or 7 a.m. Pacific. So, and it's like 11 and a half hours long or something. So, I mean, it's a long haul. Be ready to like get some snacks and some drinks, and not alcoholic drinks, because you won't make it that long if you drink alcohol. Get like some sodas and some like chips or popcorn or something. It'll be a thing. And of course you can drop in and drop out. Then of course it'll be Kent with Bent 23 the next Tuesday, assuming everything goes as planned. Then the next Tuesday, I'm not sure what it's going to be. It might be another episode of Noah Zookeeper. It might be. That's probably what it's going to be, honestly. I don't really know. I don't currently have anything lined up for leaving Young Earth Creationism, but if you know someone who's left Young Earth Creationism, send a link, or not send a link, give them my email, talk to them, see if they want to come on, because I would like to have more conversations with former Young Earth Creationists. But yeah, there you go. Monk Mayfair Cell is 7 a.m. Pacific. Oh hell, I mean, you don't have to start at that time. You can jump in later. We're going in chronological order for the debates. It's starting with the King Crocoduck trilogy. So, Ben, you've seen the King Crocoduck Kent Hovind debates, right?
I don't know if I've seen all of them. I think I've seen at least 2.
Okay, well that's the one where he was the most obvious with his. Why don't you explain it for the audience? So
it was a while ago. Those are on the pre-YouTube Kent with Bent, the precursor to Kent with Bent.
Yeah, that's when we were doing Kent with Bent with just the two of us doing it offline before I even started the channel, really. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to check and look at the playlist. So give me a second while I try to figure. Oh, come on. Sorry, computer's being difficult right now. There we go. Okay, so the playlist is called Kent Hovind's Biggest Debate Failures, and I will just go over what's on there right now. It's got the King Crocoduck trilogy, then Kent Hovind versus Bill Ludlow, then Aaron Ra and Kent Hovind discussion, then Is Young Earth Creationism True? Kent Hovind versus R.J. Downard. Then it's Our Birds Dinosaurs, a debate with Kent Hovind, audio remaster, which is with me. Then it's Hovind versus Professor Dave, Creation versus Evolution. Then it is Hovind versus Erica, Human Evolution, which is Kent Hovind versus Gutsick Gibbon, friend of the channel, who is the person I'm doing the collaboration with, which should be out Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. Then, finally, we finish with Evolution, a debate between Conspiracy Cats and Kent Hovind from the Marvel Girl channel. So if you are interested in any of that... Oh, was Colton a YEC? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to talk to him about that. Now that you mentioned that. Yeah, I would love to have Colton on, because Colton's a great guy, and I've been in a hangout with him where we did some geology focused stuff from Genesis Apologetics. So thank you for reminding me of that, TD Lane. Yeah, I will have to talk to him about that. And yeah, Monk Mayfair says King Crocoduck wrecked Kent. I mean, it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for Kent just listening to those debates, honestly. All of them, really. In every single one of them, he just comes across as a complete moron. And yeah, I mean, everyone's saying, Professor Dave debate was a smackdown. Erica's debate was awesome. Yeah, that's why I picked these. These are like my top Kent Hovind debates in terms of him just looking like an idiot. And I know it's a little bit self-serving to put mine on there, and it's sort of self-serving to put my sort of collaboration partner on there. But I mean, come on.
They were good debates.
They were good debates, yeah. Really good debates. Exactly. So look forward to that. That's not going to be live on YouTube, though. We're going to be using Watch Together, as I believe what we're going to do. So the link will be in the description, as well as probably in a pinned comment, and I'm probably going to put it on my community page and tweet it out. So, I mean, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, all that stuff, so you get the update on when it is. And Yeah. Oh, Fluffy T-Rex, you know Conspiracy Cats in real life? Really nice guy. You know what? He seemed really nice the one time I talked to him. So that's really cool. Yeah. And you know what? If he wants to do anything with the Dapper Dino channel, I'm totally open to that. So yeah. I mean, let him know that we're doing the watch party. Maybe he'll want to come by. We have talked, was it once or twice? I know we talked directly after his debate with Kent Hovind on a Marvel Girls Discord. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. Let's see. Yours, Aaron, Casey's, and Erica's best made him look foolish. Yeah. Like, look, I think I've chosen some pretty good debates, is basically what I'm getting from the audience. Everyone's like, oh yeah, he looked terrible in those debates. Yeah, that's why I picked him. Because I've seen basically every debate that Kent has done, bar a few. Like, he's done a few that I just don't care about. But yeah, those are the ones where he did the worst by far. So I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for coming by. I really want to thank especially our super chatters, Ian Chen, John Rapp, and Adam Morgan for your generous donations, and especially Ian Chen for super chatting a bunch of times and getting me something from my Amazon wish list. Which, if anyone else wants to, it is linked in the description, and there is a vast price range. It goes from like a few dollars all the way up to several $100s, so you can be exactly as generous as you want if you want to get something from that list. It's got everything all the way from like 4K monitors at the high end, down to like, hey, buy me 5 packs of ramen. I'll take ramen. So, yeah, so there you go. If that's something you want to do, other options if you want to support the channel include, you can go to the merch store, get yourself some awesome merch like that Dapper Dino blanket. Yep. There are mugs, there are t-shirts, there are stickers, bags, all sorts of cool stuff. And then, of course, there is the Patreon, where you can get access to videos early, you can get access to the fan Discord server, you can be mentioned in my videos. Yeah, so there's a lot of ways, and if none of those are really good enough for you, and you just want to, if you do actually want to support the channel, send me an email or something, and I can help with other ways to do that. Like if you want to do a PayPal thing, I've had a few people just send some money on PayPal, and it's greatly appreciated. And if that is something you want to do, and you want a message right on a live stream, just tell me what it is, and I will make sure to read that on the next live stream that I have. Well, thank you again, everyone, for showing up. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you have too. I laughed an absurd amount today on this one. This was by far the funniest Kent Hovind video that I think I have ever seen. This is just hilarious. All right. Good night, good night, good day, good afternoon. I don't know what time it is there.
See you next time, everyone.
All right. Bye.